Change has gotta come now. Ooh, yes it is. Oh my, oh my.
There's nothing I can do if you knew in a crowd. Nothing I can do if you knew.
All right. Let's get into it, shall we? All right, let's turn the music down a little bit. How's that? Okay, that's pretty good. What's going on, everybody? So the last stream that I did left off with me completing a skateboard contest editor sort of set of components in React. Today, I'm delighted to announce that what's up, Xander? Delighted to announce that I've since logged a bunch of data for a whole bunch of games, and now we have this mountain of data to play with. So today's stream is going to be all about analyzing that data. And look at these Google search. Is it safe to swim in Burrard Inlet? Orca sightings in the Burrard Inlet. I want to swim with some orcas in the Burrard Inlet, apparently. Anyway, yeah, today's stream is going to be digging into that data, answering some interesting questions using the data. We'll see how far we can get here. But before we do anything, let's get this API started up. I'm gonna cd into my API directory, npm start in there. I'm gonna open a VS Code editor for this entire monorepo that contains my API and my client code. Then I'll cd into the client directory and get that started up too. And I like to open a third tab just to use to run git commands or npm install things without having to stop either of these guys. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, right. cd admin. Oopsies. Wrong directory. I'll cd over to admin in my third tab as well. Okay. The API is ready, and my client is building. These things tend to take a lot longer when I'm streaming, so bear with me here. And I'll show you shortly what we've got to work with. I guess I'm also going to need to pop open Postico. Oh, you know what? If I just minimize that, now it's going to go a lot faster. Okay. Minimizing OBS, that is. OBS. It's a monster. So I've got this database, Battle of the Barracks stats. BATB is short for Battle of the Barracks. And in this database, I've got every Battle of the Barracks event so far. For each event, I've got games. They're all associated with an event by an event ID. They all happen in a particular round in the contest. And then each game has participants, the 2 skaters involved in it, and they go ahead and make these attempts. These are we're probably going to be working a lot with attempts today, analyzing the attempts that happen during an event and trying to glean some information about them. Cup of hot chocolate or mint tea? Neither, my friend. This is coffee. This is poorly brewed coffee, actually. My filter, while it was brewing, collapsed on itself and let a bunch more water and little tasty treats into my pot of coffee. But what can you do? Sometimes that happens. All right. I've got my Gatsby site up and running. I'll pop that open. Is that a gravestone? Wow, what a nice homepage. We're gonna be working today starting anyways from this events page. So each event gets a page generated for it. Oh dear. What do we have here? Somebody ban this person. How do you ban? Banned. Look at that. Well, that's weird. This is not something that I've seen before, so first things first, we gotta do some fixing. That one works. You know what I think it is that sometimes there's a buy. Yeah. See, any game that contains a buy round where one skater just advances through a round without playing because their opponent dropped out. I introduced some new logic that I guess doesn't agree with that. So let's go ahead and fix that first of all. So this error is happening in my bracket component. And you'll see here in my bracket, where are we here? I'm looking for a game, a winner in this game result object. If result is null, then we get this error, cannot read property winner of null. So the fix should be pretty simple. I can just optionally chain this winner property from the result, and here we go. And as we can see here, this is the buy round that was causing all the havoc a moment ago. And everything looks good with that fixed. Let's take a look at the other one with a buy. There it is. There you go. Another buy round. Luan Oliveira advances automatically through this, and he actually ended up winning the event. Let's see if the buy affected this bracket very much. Danny Garcia lost in the following round, so not very much. But this one's interesting, where Luan gets a buy through the second round and wins the whole damn event. Cool. So with that out of the way, I want to jump right into this and start answering questions about this event. Like, during this event, what tricks proved to be... Well, let's start by saying what tricks were most common in this event. Yo, what's up, Matt? We got some brackets indeed. Yeah, you know, I'm swift with that band hammer. I rule this chat with an iron fist. So everybody behave. Yeah, so let's start by answering the question of what trick was the most common throughout this whole event. So to do that, I'm gonna have to look at each game. Well, not look at each game, but I want to request data for all of the attempts that happened in all of the games. It's gonna be a big ass query, but with that information, I should be able to deduce by analyzing the attempts which ones, which tricks happen the most. Each attempt is related to a trick row in my database, and in my GraphQL schema, the relationship looks like this. Where are we? So I have, well, let's see. First of all, I've got this event type. An event can have multiple games. A game can have multiple attempts of type attempt. And an attempt can have a trick, or it must have a trick because this field is non-nullable. So with those pieces of information, I think we can reduce an event's game's attempts into groups of tricks. So to do this, let's head over to our event page. And I've already got this GraphQL query here. We're looking for all games within this event. Currently looking for these fields, skaters, replacements, the result. I'm also going to look at attempts. And then for each attempt, I want to get the trick and its ID and name. Okay. I'm also going to want to know something about this attempt. So each attempt has this successful Boolean as well as an offense Boolean. So in the way that games of skate work, it's like horse with basketball, if you're familiar with that. One skater sets a trick and the other must repeat it. If they don't repeat it, they get a letter, and the game continues until one skater has 5 letters and they lose. So when I'm analyzing this and I want to see what tricks what tricks occurred, I really want to know. Yeah, I'll be specific about this question, like which tricks happened the most and were successfully landed. And to get that, really what I can look at is I want to see tricks or attempts where offense is true. So this is somebody setting the trick, and where successful is true. So I'm going to get offense and successful. Really what would be kind of cool is if I could accept a like a filter here and specify offense true, successful true. So I'm only getting back attempts where the where that were offensive and successful. But I think instead of implementing this right away, I'm just going to go with doing some client-side filtering because I may want to answer other questions with this same array of tricks and array of attempts. And it might be useful to kind of subdivide this array into offensive or defensive, successful or unsuccessful attempts. So let's just add these back in and hope that this query doesn't melt my computer. Okay. And when I have that, I'm going to look at console log event games. And we can just explore the data in the console. So I've got this array of 32 games looking really good, and they each have an array of attempts, both offensive and defensive, successful and unsuccessful. Great. So let's see. What I really want to end up with is like I guess I want to end up with an array of tricks that have like an ID and a name like this. I'll bump the font size up just a little bit. And maybe like a number of attempts. And do this for every trick. I think that could work. I'm just thinking about what the best way to go about this is. Well, first of all, I know that I'm gonna need to flatten these like nested arrays of attempts into one kind of master list of all attempts for one event. To do that, we'll head over into the code, and I'm just going to create a variable here called total, or maybe all attempts. I like to use the word total when it has like this, when the variable is a number. But yeah, so all attempts is going to be event games. I'm going to flat map, which is like map, except instead of returning one element at a time, you can return an array of elements, and each array of elements returned by each iteration of the flat map function just kind of gets concatenated into the one master array. So for each game, I'm going to return that game's attempts. Attempts, like that. And let's console log this to see just how big this array ends up being. It should be rather large. Yeah, about 1,850 attempts. Cool. Gives me a lot to work with. So if I want to answer the question about yeah, if I want to group my tricks, like not like that. I guess the console didn't save what my little mock-up there, but that's okay. I've got all my attempts. I'm going to reduce those. Let's call it common tricks. So we can take all attempts, reduce that. I'm gonna start with an object and just see. We'll see how this works out and reshape it as necessary. So this function takes an accumulator, and each iteration gets an attempt. And I'm just gonna return. Oops, the accumulator, and then for I'm going to key this object by attempt trick ID, and each each property keyed by the trick ID is going to contain an array of attempts. Or I guess I could just increment a count. Let's do this array method first. Okay. So I want to know, like, if this key already exists, if this key attempt trick ID already exists in the accumulator, I want to spread in the existing array and just tack on my latest attempt. Otherwise, I'm just gonna give it a fresh array with that attempt inside, and I can remove some repetition here by defining this existing, variabilizing this existing object property and using that variable in both places. Okay, so let's see where we're at. What does common tricks look like? Hey, what's up, Jason? How are you doing? This looks pretty good. So I've got this array that, an object that looks like it's keyed by IDs because it's not incrementing linearly. And each one has an array of a different length. That's pretty cool. Let's see. That's a good starting place. Now to turn this into the shape that I want it to be, remember that's like an array with an object that has a trick ID, trick name, and a number of attempts. I guess I could do some stuff to like morph this object into an array with this shape, but I'm thinking that maybe I can just change the way that my reduce is working here. Oh wow, that seems like a pretty cool little one-liner. Let's see. Let's take a look at how that looks. Bam. Nice. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, this is a succinct little one-liner for sure. But I think for this purpose, we're gonna rewrite this to accumulate within accumulate an array instead of an object. So let's see. How's this gonna look? Yeah, this actually could be a little tricky. Let's think about this here for a minute. I typically don't like, so one thing we could do is like look through the accumulator, for an item whose ID property is equal to attempt trick ID, and then like insert it back into the array or something like that. Hey, what's up, Max? Welcome. But yeah, this way seems a little bit messy as well, huh? You know what? Maybe we'll just go back to the way I had with JSON Web Dev's sweet one-liner suggestion. So we've got this ID. An object rather, keyed by trick IDs. And let's just take this, object entries it, and then map over those entries. Object entries is going to take an object and give us an array of arrays where each inner array has two items, the key and the value. In my case, the key is the ID and the value is the attempts. All right, so for each of these, we can return our object with num attempts, set to attempts length, the ID, and then to get the trick name, let's see, well, we can just say, I guess we need to get a list of the tricks, huh? You know what? I think I'm gonna rework this a little bit more. So if we had like an all tricks array to work with, we could like find within the array an item whose ID equals let's just call this trick. Something like that. That could work. I'm thinking that I could actually just save. Let's see here. I could just save the trick name within this accumulator instead. And to do that, I'm actually gonna return this to its non-one-liner state. And you'll see why in a second. Okay. So really what I want to do is give, let me see here, existing and attempts is going to be existing attempts with the current attempt on the end, and in the other case we're going to have an object with attempts set to that single attempt and name set to attempt trick name. So when we create an entry for an attempt, we give it a name, and otherwise we just spread whatever properties, I guess just trick name, but then just reset the actual attempts object. And then with this, we can go name and attempts, destructure these two properties from the value part of my my entry, and return an object for each entry. Now let's see what we've got here. I'm gonna clear my console, give that a refresh, see what we got. Oh, Jason, I'm flattered, but I don't know about its finest, but we're making it work, that's for sure. Is this a DSLR and the condenser mic too? Yes, sir. We've got a DSLR, and I don't know what a condenser mic is, but if this is it, then I'll take it. Cool, so we've got our array of tricks and their respective number of attempts. This is looking really good. Now, let's sort this sucker, right? So I want to sort by number of attempts, highest first, right? So to do that, I can just say b num attempts minus a num attempts. I always get the order of this wrong, so I might have to switch these if it's ordered the wrong way. But let's see See if we got it right. And it looks like I did. First try. Look at this. So, according to the stats, 360 flip was attempted a total of 62 times. Kickflip, 60 times. Nollie heel, 50, and so on. This looks pretty good. Yeah, I know. It's I always I never know which one to put first to get the desired effect, but hey, the JavaScript gods are with me today, I guess. Hey, thanks, Matt. First try. First try is a skateboarding thing too. When you land something first try, it's like, oh shit, dude, first try. And then if you land something second try, you just say, oh my god, first try. So this is all fine, but I forgot something crucial. I'm just reducing all of the attempts total. Remember what I said before about successful attempts and offensive attempts. I want to only perform this calculation on successful offensive attempts. So I can add a filter in here that will attempt to do just that. So I'm going to say filter out, or I want to filter attempts that were offense and attempt successful. And if I really wanted to, I could just say like offensive successful attempts or something like that. Or I guess maybe the other way around, successful offensive attempts. That might be nicer on the eyes. And we'll see how that skews the stats now. All right, so the stats have been basically halved, but this looks pretty good. Surprisingly, 360 flip is still the king, just barely, with a one attempt lead over kickflip as the second most common trick in this event. Fascinating. So I'm just gonna get these on the page. Let's just put them. Let's put them in here for now. I can always reorganize this, apply some nice design to it and whatnot, but yeah, for right now, let's give this a try. I might have to tweak this scroll container thing. We'll get to it when we get to it. So I'm just gonna render a div, heading. I'm telling you, this is not gonna look perfect on the first go here, but I just want to get something in here. Okay, most common tricks, and we're going to render a list. All these pre-baked components are coming from Shocker UI. Within my list, I'm going to iterate over common tricks, and I'm just going to slice this down to, like, let's just look at the 10 most common and map over this for each trick. I'm going to render a list item keyed by that trick ID, and we'll say trick name, and in parentheses we can just put trick num attempts with a T, excuse me, and get that list item imported. And yes, indeed, this is Shocker UI. So this my scrolly bracket still works, so I'm very pleased with that. And up here we've got most common tricks for this event. That's pretty cool. Hey, YOLOs. Sometimes it bugs out and Miss me. Hey, Max, thank you so much for the prime. Amazing. I know the feeling, man. Sometimes you have to YOLO. That's how it is. So I've got a list, and that's all fine and dandy, but I would love to see how I can represent this visually. I like using this Nevo charting library. I don't know if anybody in chat has any experience with charting libraries in React, but if you do, I'd love to hear what the state of the art is these days. I've been using Nevo for a few years and seem to like it. But yeah, what are you guys using for charts? It'd be so cool to, I don't even know when I would use a chord or a circle packing diagram or Vonaroid. You know, some of these more obscure charts. I really want to learn more about data viz and figure out when it's appropriate to use these things. But for right now, let's just make a pie. This looks like exactly the kind of thing I need to represent my data in a chart. Let's see, recharts. I think I've tried using recharts before. Oh yeah, I definitely have. Yeah, this is pretty cool. Let's take a look at this first before we land on a charting library. I want to see what the options are. Okay. It's weird that this thing stops, the page stops shrinking at a certain point. Bruh. IBM carbon charts, huh? So, okay. No kidding. Let's take a look at this. I'm gonna look at the pie. Alright, not bad. Yeah, looks pretty, oh, this is nice. Ooh, fancy, eh? Okay. Options. Title, pie. Resizable, true. That is pretty key. Nice, yeah. So when it's it's weird that it does that. When its parent container changes size, it does in turn. Huh, that's nice. That is definitely something about Nevo that I do like quite a bit. I feel like I'm leaning towards Nevo because it's what I'm most familiar with. Also, my inspiration for this ultimately is, or like kind of my main reference material for how I want to present this information is like they do for the State of JS survey. So every year, there's this awesome survey. If you haven't ever taken it or explored this data, I highly suggest you do that. It's just State of JS. But it's really, really cool how they represent this stuff in kind of a nice like editorial way, and this is kind of the inspiration here. I want to pose a bunch of questions and answer them using the data that I have, and I know I'm fairly certain that they use Nevo for this as well, because the creator of Nevo helps build all this. Yeah, so, posing questions, showing a chart that expresses the result. That is the basic idea. So I'm just gonna roll on with Nevo for now. And let's see where it gets us. In the Nevo API, huh? Is that what we're doing nowadays? Oh, I guess I can just install Nevo Pi for now. What is this Nevo API? API client. What is the deal here? This looks like yeah. So Nevo has an HTTP rendering API. This is so crazy. The API generates an SVG. Just as a string, I guess. Then you take that string and render it in your code as an SVG. That's pretty dope. The demo API server is installed on Heroku. I'm just going to go ahead and use the React components for now. Okay. Oh, no way. Yeah. State of JS is a really good source of truth for things like that, where you have to convince others about what is currently the state of the art, what does the future look like it's heading, things like that. So I'm not totally surprised. That's cool though. Okay. I'm just going to import. How do we do this? Import responsive Pi from @NevoPi. And Pi takes some data. It takes a whole bunch of other props that allow you to customize the look of it. But I'm hoping that I can get away with just supplying the required props. I shouldn't need a width and height because I'm using responsive, right? Yeah, this one doesn't use it. So it's going to look for an ID on each item and a value. In our case, value is going to be num attempts. I guess we can always just change this to value. And we'll get into the rest as we get there, I guess. You know what? I'm gonna keep it num attempts. I like the way that looks. Okay, I'm gonna render a pie chart. Responsive Pi is gonna take data in the form of common tricks, sliced at 10, and you know what, since I'm doing that in two places, I'm just gonna put this slice out here on the end of my sort statement. And data, yeah, right, so ID is fine, as is value. Needs to be num attempts. Yeah, State of JS is so well done, and I just love kind of like the way it's presented. The editorial style is very much like something that I want to emulate in my work too. Okay, it looks like I have to install Nevo Core separately. I just want to go over here. References. I want to get mine in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to assume that you do need to install Nevo Core. Yeah. In order to use Nevo, you have to install the Nevo Core package and then choose some of the scope packages that you wish to use. Easy enough. We'll install Nevo Core. And take a sip of coffee while it installs. How about that? And I think my ID actually could just be the... I think my ID can just be the trick name, because those are going to be unique across all of my common tricks. I'm just looking at to see if they have a label prop. Arc labels, here we go. Arc label, formatted value. Yeah, it defines how to get label text. So this is going to be my trick name. Oh, shit. Let's see that again. Okay. That's a problem. I'm just going to put this in a box of height, I don't know, 300 pixels. Let's try that. And you know what? Maybe let's get rid of this 100 VH height there. Okay, cool. That's a start. Let's go back to the docs and figure out this arc label. So by default, arc labels are on. I'm just gonna go here and say arc label is name. And you can't, oh shit. That's not what I want. I guess arc labels are okay as they are. What I'm looking for are these labels. What are arc link labeled? Ah, this is what I'm looking for here. Okay, so we'll say arc link label name. See if that works. Maybe 15 or 20 tricks for more variation in slice sizes. I like it. I like it. That's interesting that the name isn't coming through there. Surely I'm doing something wrong. Okay, if I give it ID, that does seem to work. Let's see. Maybe if I give ID name instead. What do we get then? Alright, so that does get the trick names on the page. It also gets them pushed out of the page quite a bit. I'm sure I can tackle that with some margin, right? Let's use their margin for now. Yeah, 15 or 20 tricks. Let's try it, Max. Let's start with 20. Not it's a pretty slow, like it's not a, what am I trying to say? It's kind of an even distribution of tricks, isn't it? Yeah. It's what would be the best way? Maybe less? Less is more? What does it look like with 5? You know what? That's not half bad, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna deal with these text labels first and foremost. Let's see. How do I do this? Arc labels, text color. Default is the labels text fill property from my theme. That's interesting. They don't have a dark and light mode thing going on there. Not to worry though. Yeah, I kind of like the I like it when there's less, I think. Also the text in the tooltip is white on the white background because it inherits from my like the parent text, but not the text inside the chart itself. Frustrating, guys, frustrating. But okay, so let's see. Theme. I'm gonna want to just update labels text fill in my theme, right? Or inherit. Why don't I do that? Would that be crazy? Let's try that. Arc, link, labels, color, inherit. Come on. Oh, inherit color. Okay. I see. I have to supply it as an object. Inherit color. Let's try that. Dot, dot, dot. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing here. What if I changed... I guess I can look at this and see what it gives me. ArcLink labels text color. ArcLink labels color is the thing I don't want to change. Text color. Actually, I actually want to inherit from color. I kind of like that. I can just say from color there and text color from color, and there we go. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of the colored text. Let's yeah, their docs are really awesome. What if I just give it inherit? I think I tried that. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Unless... What is it inheriting from? You see, fill... Yeah, the problem with this is that this is not HTML and CSS, really. Like, these are text elements within an SVG. So when I say fill inherit, it's not inheriting the color from its parent, it's inheriting the fill from its parent. And of course I can't give the whole thing a fill of white or something like that. What if instead I say current color? Now we're talking. Okay. So CSS has this property called current color. Surely that'll work. There we go. Has this property called current color, which basically reaches up to the nearest DOM element that has a color defined, and that's the value that it represents. So current color can help in cases like this. As far as the tooltip goes, let's see what we can do about that, huh? Tooltip. Custom tooltip example, show custom tooltip. I would love to be able to, oh, you can customize the style of the tooltip using the theme.tooltip object. Okay. Let's take a look at theming, shall we? Theme, oh wow, they've updated this quite a bit too. This is awesome stuff. Okay, where's my tooltip? I don't get to interactively mess with the tooltip. Oh, dang it. I guess I can just take a stab at this customizing using theme.tooltip, right? Theme. Tooltip. What if I say color red? As good as our documentation is, there's so much stuff, and that worked. That was a good guess. But it can be kind of intimidating because there's a lot of stuff that's not like explicitly documented. For example, you can customize the style of tooltip using theme.tooltip. I don't know exactly what options I can pass to my tooltip theme thing, but this is a good start. What if I say background color blue? Can I change the background color of this thing? Yeah, see, that didn't work. What if I say background? No, nothing there. Yeah, you're thinking about refactoring, jumping ship to Nevo. Can't say I blame you. Yeah, Nevo is pretty sweet. If I could figure out how to change this darn background color. Where's an example of a where's an example of a tooltip? That's what I need. Tool? Okay, here's a question. Can I just see... Maybe I can look at a bunch of themes. Oh, hey, yes. Thank you, Jason. You're one step ahead of me. It's exactly where I was going to go to next. So, yeah, look at this. Oh, man. This is super, super helpful. Okay, so... This container is what I'm looking for here. Thank you so much. Container... Oh, and look at this. We even have... There's even code hints. Because this library is so well written. Let's just make sure this works. That looks pretty good. But of course I don't want straight up blue tooltips. Maybe I will one day, who knows. Instead, I think I would like... Well, let's see here. I want to use a color from my chakra theme. And I can do that by using a hook. I'm going to destructure colors from the theme, which is coming from this handy dandy use theme hook. And I'm gonna take those colors and access colors, gray, 800. All right, that's pretty good. That's like the color of the background. Let's brighten that up a little bit so it can stand out. Much better. Okay, so there's one chart. I want to say one chart down. I don't think we're quite finished with it, but it's progress nonetheless. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to remove the list for now. And I'm going to try to answer another question. Now that we have one chart in here, feeling more confident, let's just keep this train rolling and answer another burning question. I posted 3 questions that I was going to answer, or attempt to answer anyway, on stream to my Twitter. Let me remind myself what those were. What are the most common tricks? Who are the most consistent skaters? So that'll be the next one that we tackle. Most consistent skaters. And so to judge this, I guess what I want to know is which skaters mess up the least. Which skaters get the fewest letters against? So to start off with that, let's see. We can probably like, we can iterate through the games. Hey, what's up, Fraser? Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm pumped. It's not, doesn't look beautiful yet, but we're really working with this data. And if we actually, before I get into this next chart, I think it'll be worth exploring other battles and seeing how this changes. Woo! Yo, my man. Thank you so much for the sub. Do a kickflip. Oh, I wish I could. If I had the room in this office, trust me, I would. We'll save it for another day, though. But you can see that the most popular tricks actually changes. Kickflip isn't even in the top 5 most popular tricks for this Battle of the Barracks 10. Let's see what about New Blood. 360 flip is king, it looks like. This is so interesting though. Yeah, 360 flip consistently tops. And we can see the proportions change here and there, but boy, 360 flip really dominating for all of these. Let's see if any of these older battles maybe favor different tricks. There we go. Here's our first one with nollie kickflip, and kickflip being more popular than 360 flip back in Battle of Barracks 3. Let's keep going back in time. This is fun. 360 flip back on top. The catch of skateboarding. Pretty much. Okay, there's Battle of Barracks 1. We forgot women's Battle of Barracks, 360 flips still. And Battle of the Quarantine, nollie kickflip. So interesting. All right, Matt. Yeah, you have a great night, and I'll catch you again soon. Thanks for stopping by. How cool is this? Now, for something like this, I wonder... I'm starting to second guess whether the pie is really the best chart for the job. Like, I really want to represent this kind of like ranking. Maybe this is all right. I kind of like how these are not in any particular order as well. I might consider doing the same thing here. But anyway, let's move on to most consistent skaters. So, game plan here. We have each game, and we know the winner of each game, right? We assume that the loser missed 5 tricks. But that doesn't account for offenses that they missed as well. I think we're gonna. I was gonna say we could rely on this, like the results of the game, in this like results object that I get. I get a number of letters against the winning skater. So if you win 5 letters to 2, letters against will be 2. So I was thinking I could calculate, like, order skaters by the ones with the fewest total letters against. I mean, that in itself could be a really good stat point to look at. Maybe we'll do that as well. But I want to account for both offensive and defensive misses. I want to simply know, like, which skaters have the most successful attempts or the fewest unsuccessful attempts. So let's do that. Or maybe yeah, like we could even do a ratio, like the most successful to unsuccessful attempt ratio. That might be what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is just start here, like we did with this one. I'm just going to kind of rough something out, and we can make it nice and smooth and efficient afterwards. Let's play around here. So I'm going to say, what did we call this? Common tricks. We're going to call this consistent. We'll just call it skaters. Let's start by creating an object keyed, similarly to what we did here, keyed by skater ID. And then, like, keep track of their successful and unsuccessful attempts. Or maybe I could just let's see. I could even just take all the attempts and group them by skater. Then I have each skater's all attempts. And then do some kind of sorting on that. Yeah, let's try that. So I'm going to take all attempts, and we're going to reduce that. Get our accumulator, our attempt, and we'll be starting out with an empty object. I'm going to do the same thing that I've done here, except instead of looking for the attempt trick ID, we're going to look for the skater ID. And before I can do that, I have to add skater to my to each attempt in my GraphQL query. I'm going to get the skater and their full name, and we should be good to go. So we're going to return the accumulator with new value for this this key, attempt skater ID. If we have an existing skater, we'll spread in the that existing skater like that. Stay hydrated. Yo, thank you, Max. My guy. I needed that. Oh, yeah. All right, so attempts is going to be existing attempts with that latest attempt. Otherwise, what do we have? Name, attempt, skater, full name, and attempts, this array with a single attempt. Okay, let's see what we got. That's gonna be the end of me. Here we go. Let's get rid of all this console madness. And here we go. Cool. So I've got this object. Once it expands, so let's clear console, refresh. Maybe that'll work. And here we go. This object with skaters, keyed by skaters' IDs with their name and all their attempts. Now that we have this, though, I want to map over this thing and turn those attempts, just this raw array of attempts, into their success or unsuccess ratio. What do we call that? Their effectiveness score. Sure. Entries with all my attempts, those objects, and we'll map over each one. Grab the ID, name, and attempts, and we'll return, let's see, ID, name, and success ratio. And this is basically going to be successful attempts divided by all attempts. Am I missing? What am I missing here? Oh, come on. Oh, I have a square bracket in there for some reason. Oh wait, no, that makes sense. What am I missing here? Let's just remove this for now. Okay. There's my object entries, and we'll tack on a map statement. Am I not doing the exact same thing that I did here? Oh, right. I didn't complete this thing. So, right. Let's see. What I'm going to need to do first is create a new array of successful attempts. So I can do that by grabbing, let's say, call it successful attempts equals attempts, filter attempt, and we just want to return the ones that are successful, like this. Now I can just say successful attempts length divided by attempts length. Let's see what we get now. So we should have an array of skaters. Oh, seems to be a problem here. Let's just give it the old Command R, huh? So we have 16 skaters. That sounds about right. Wait a minute. Shouldn't there be 2, 4? Yeah, there should be 32 skaters in here, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Oh, right. Battle of the Quarantine is a 16-person bracket. Normally, with like Battle of the Barracks X, we've got a much deeper pool of skaters, so we should have 32. There we go. And look at this. We have... This is definitely something we can work with here. So, as we did before, I'm going to sort my array. This time I want it to sort... Oh no, I still want it to sort in a descending order. So we'll go B success ratio minus A success ratio. And as we did before, let's just get the top 5 skaters. And for this data point, not going to want to use a pie chart. I'm thinking maybe a good old-fashioned bar chart might do the trick, huh? Where's a bar? And we can just have on the y-axis the success ratio from 0 to 1, and then each skater gets a row. Yeah, showing they're successful. I honestly could even make it stacked like this. That could be kind of cool. What if it's... Huh. Let's just see what the results show here. Who is the most successful 5 skaters here? So Chris Joslin, who won the event, is number 1. No surprise there. Luan is second. He didn't even come second in the event. Where's Luan? Luan went out 3rd round, and he's the second most consistent skater. That's really interesting. Seva, Paul, and Tom closing out the top 5. This is really, really cool. Okay. So, oh shoot, yeah. It's not 8 yet, Max. It's not 8 yet. I can still have my coffee. So laying this out, let's see. Yeah, let's just go with a bar chart for now, and we can probably see a little slope. I feel like maybe, yeah, huh? It'd be cool to see all the skaters, right? All 32 skaters in a bar chart, and being able to draw like an average line. That could be kind of cool. Can we do that? Annotations? Damn, Nevo has storybook too? An annotation. That's not what I'm looking for. I want... Oh, this is kind of cool. Huh. Okay. I'm just going to get this bar chart all up in here. Default is stacked. No. I wish I knew what this stuff represented. Okay, I have this book. Where is it? I've got this cool book here called Information Design, and or an introduction to information design, and I have a feeling that this is going to come in very handy. They like show different charts, and essentially what I want to understand is when do I use what chart? I used to work with a guy at my previous job who was really adept at data visualization and would definitely be able to answer these questions for me. But for right now, I'm afraid I'm on my own. But that's perfectly fine with me. Let's just go with the bar chart, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so my chart data is going to look like this. They have indexed by country. My keys are just going to be one key of, what is it called again? Success ratio. Let's give this a try. So I'm going to install Nevo/bar. And I'm going to preemptively put it in here. Responsive bar. It's going to take a data prop of, what was it called again? Skaters. Index by ID, that's already the default. Values, or no, keys, is going to be an array with success ratio. Cool. Okay, let's try this. Yeah, it's kind of anticlimactic, huh? One thing I'd like to do first of all is share the theme that I've created with the dark tooltip. I'm going to share that with my between both charts by taking it, and I'm going to make a variable up here called theme. And yeah, this kind of like this, it's so close. It's hard to really see any interesting distribution of skaters here. So let's take this slice off and just show them all. Cool. It would be really nice if each of the bars were colored differently. I would also like to add a little bit of margin here. You know, I wonder if I can define the margin for different charts in my theme. Like over here, if we look at maybe not. Let's take a look at margin in the docs. Yeah, it looks like it just takes an object. No worries. Okay, color by ID or index value. What does index value mean? Oh, this looks like what I'm looking for. Color by index value. That must be like the bar's index in the array of all the bars. And there we have it. Very nice. And right now we've got the skater's numerical ID 36 in this case, 55 in this one, showing up, and these text labels are just outrageous. I'm also going to need to make my labels here colored like these ones with the current color CSS property. Let's do that right now. We can say labels. Labels are referring to the ones on the bars itself. I'm going to have to tweak that in a minute, but grids and axes, legends. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Motion, no. Axis left. enable, tick size, tick rotation, legend. Where's my color option here? Let's see. Axis, ticks. I think this is what I'm looking for here. Axis, legend, text. I'm gonna give that one a try and put that in my theme. Let's see, axis, legend, singular, text, color, current, color. Please work. Waiting. It looks like it didn't work. Yeah, that definitely did not have an effect. Let's go back to the default theme and see what we could be doing better. Ah, here we go. Ticks, text. I think that's what I'm looking for. Not legend text, but ticks. Terrible little creature. Carries Lyme disease. Unacceptable. Anything? Please? Oh, okay. Color did get set to current color, but doesn't seem to have an effect. I need to set fill to current color. Right? Yeah, that's it. Fill current color. There we go. Now we're talking. It looks like current color doesn't need to be camel case. I always camel case this darn thing. I've been living a lie. Current color, lowercase. I love it. It's nice to not have, like, I think it's nice to have no camel case strings in CSS, but I don't know why. All right. This is good. It's rather cramped in here, and there's IDs scattered along the bottom. Let's go into my responsive text and say index by name. I imagine it'll get rather cramped down here on the bottom as well. So, what is the best way to deal with that? Maybe turning the, I could turn the text labels 90 degrees. Would that work? Let's give that a try. So if we go to axis, axis bottom, tick size, tick padding, tick rotation. Can I do that? Ooh, I can. That's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's start with -90 and see if I can maybe turn it into like a, what would be, -45? Whatever. Yeah. I might be able to afford 45, but let's find out. So the way this looks is axis bottom. I'm just going to try omitting all this stuff and just giving it a tick rotation. Ba-ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, yes. This is going to work. This is going to work. Yeah, I kind of like the aesthetic of the tilted versus the straight up and down. I think it's a little bit easier to read too, just from a practical standpoint. Easier to read kind of like left to right on a slope versus bottom to top. And yeah, this looks pretty good. This guy's name is getting cut off. Damn, this is pretty intense. I'm gonna have to deal with this label issue. Maybe what I can do is for the label formatting, I'll just round it to some decimal place and format it nicely. Try to format it as nicely as I can. So let's take a look at that. Labels. Label. How are labels computed? If the bar width is lower than the provided value. Okay, interesting. So if I want to hide the labels when the bars are a certain width, I can do that. I'm going to try formatting this thing first and see what I can get with that. So the label, I'm going to just try providing a label function here. Label, it takes a skater, and we're gonna say skater success ratio times 100, so turning like 0.8 into 80, and then math round that sucker and add a %sign. Not a number. Excuse me. Alright, maybe I've got something wrong here. Oh, you know what? It might be... Let's just take a look at what skater is in this case. I might have assumed that it's something that it's not. What's up, Arthur? Do a kickflip? You're not the first person who's said that today. And here we go. So, formatted value. Where's formatted value coming from? Formatted, or maybe if I just go to format. Oh, formatting values. Do 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 do. I hate Storybook. I don't know. Oh, here we go. I was gonna say I don't know how to actually see the code. But I take that back. Okay, I'm looking for format, value format. This is what we're talking about here. So we can just get the number and throw it in there. Let's do that instead of this label thing. Value format. Can I supply a unit? This looks like it looks like I'm actually looking at the wrong thing here. Let's look for. Please let me highlight this. Okay. Axis left. Okay, so I can format the value. Huh. Somebody ban this guy. I'm not a poser. Don't actually ban Arthur. So I'm in a bit of a decision paralysis here. I don't know. In this case, they're doing formatting the value and supplying a format thing on the left axis. Let's start by just doing value format, take value, math, round, value times 100. And so that should give me a nice round integer. Okay. That's not bad, but maybe we'll give it one more decimal place just to just to get a little bit more specificity. And the way that we do that is before rounding the number, I'm going to multiply it by 1,000. So that's turning a 0.8 into not an 80, but an 800. And then rounding that and then dividing that number by 10 to remove that extra decimal place. Or to move that decimal place over 1. As you can see, that one, that seems to work pretty well. And obviously this didn't actually change anything on the left side. So it looks like I have to do the same thing over there. Is that how we're doing this? Alternatively, I could do all this rounding stuff up here where I'm actually setting my success ratio. Maybe I'll do that instead. So we'll call this success ratio and round that number that way. Boom. We should get all the values on the left and all the values on the bars lining up properly. And they do. Wonderful. This is pretty cool. Arthur, check it out. We're looking at Battle of the Barracks 10. Most consistent skaters. That is skaters with the highest successful attempt to unsuccessful attempt ratio, both on defense and offense. Pretty cool. I'd say that one is settled for now, but like we did with the common tricks data point, let's look at some of the other battles and see how this looks different. Wow, look at this. So Kevin White only played one game in Battle of Barracks 11. He won, and he has the highest success rate because I guess he just won one game, was extremely successful, and didn't play another game. Luan, who won the event, I believe, came in second. That's really interesting. Let's see. And then this is really interesting. This is a much smaller tournament, so there's less to sample. But Christiana Means, who won her first two matches and then couldn't make the finals night, had to drop out. She was actually the most consistent skater in the whole tournament. I guess playing additional games is going to drive. It's going to have a higher probability of driving your success rate down. But yeah, really interesting. Let's take a look at Battle of Barracks 8, which I was lucky enough to be in attendance for the final. And Shane O'Neill, who didn't win, came in first. PJ Ladd, who didn't even make finals night, came in second. So it's really interesting that you can lose games but still technically be the most consistent over the course of an event. Bastian Salabanzi comes in dead last. So that wins are weighted in the decision of who's most consistent. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Max. Maybe you can elaborate. Do you mean like winning games would kind of like add more weight to your consistency score? That's kind of where I was heading with this, because it is kind of weird seeing not the winner with the highest success rate. But for this particular data point, for this question that I'm posing, that is technically the right answer. So I'm satisfied with it for now. It is kind of weird, I agree, but I'm just going to roll with it for the moment. But yeah, definitely good point. Fraser, you asked first, did I manually record all this data? Yes. None of this data was online. I made a video explaining how I record all this data. I built like a custom web form specifically for transcribing Battle of the Barracks games, and this is basically what I did here. So on the left, you see my form. On the right, you see another browser where I have each battle playing on YouTube. I have to add the skater. I add their first name, last name, select their country of origin and their birth date. And then once I get into the game, I fast forward over to the Rochambeau. I play the game at half speed, and then I just go along and add these tricks. Sometimes pause and take a closer look at what tricks were being done. This is sped up like 10 times or 5 times or something. So I'm definitely not as fast as this makes me look, but yeah, this is all just like a custom data entry app that I made to transcribe these things, and it's pretty smart. Like you just type in the name of the trick, you get to select from a drop down of options that like match the trick name that you put in, and you select which trick it was. All the tricks were inputted manually as well. If a trick happens that isn't already in the system, there's a button beside the trick input here to add a new trick. So that comes in handy sometimes. After you type the trick name, you choose you select was it set and was it defended. If it was set and not defended, then the skater on defense gets a letter. If it was not set, like if we go up here, nollie backside 180 heel flip was not set, so the person setting goes over to the other column, and so this is a nice way to visualize kind of like the state of the game, which side you're on. The skaters' names are at the top of the page that they are represented by. That was the data entry project, or the data entry part of it. It took forever. It was absolutely brutal, let me tell you. But I'm happy that it's all in here. That's basically all I did this weekend. Sat here. It was like a freaking part-time job, man. Entering all this stuff, but alas, it's all in here now. So the hard part is behind me. And your second question: did I get to meet any big names while I was there? Yes, definitely. Yeah, like I mean, I wouldn't say I like met the skaters who were competing. They were kind of like in the zone, but there was a bunch of other pro skaters in attendance. Got to say hi to. I also have like some contacts with the people at the barracks, so I got to ham it up with those guys, and that was fun. But yeah, really good memories. Getting to go to these in-person events. I really look forward to being able to travel and go to these packed events once again. That would be really nice. Because it's so hype, man. It's such like an amazing atmosphere. Let's take a look at some of these other consistent skaters. Look at this. So Cody Cepeda, winner of this battle, takes top spot. Nija, second. This is so cool. Uyghur, his name is so long it's getting cut off. But it's interesting to see this like drop off. It kind of happens every time, but differently. That's kind of cool, huh? How consistent was Arthur? Dude, he's not even on the chart. What does that tell you? Morgan Smith. Despite not winning, Morgan... Where did Morgan get to? That's so interesting. Yeah, Morgan got out third round. Most consistent. Let's see. Us versus them. I'm expecting Morgan to be number one here because he won. Yeah, look at that. This is so cool. This is so dope. Okay. I would say this is another question answered. Let's go back to the old Twitter machine and remind myself what the other question is that I wanted to answer. Does rock paper scissors wins correlate with game wins? So how this is another interesting one. Like, what is the I want to try to investigate the correlation between winning rock paper scissors and winning the game. Because you would think that being able to start first is a huge advantage. Does that advantage actually translate to a game of skate? I know that, like, I know because I was like inputting these things. Like certain games were basically decided by the rock paper scissors because the person who won never missed and like just swept the other skaters. So everybody who's hanging in chat, please let me know, what do you think? Will rock paper scissors victories correlate with game victories, or will there be no correlation? How do we determine correlation? Arthur thinks no. Fraser thinks yes. Max, what do you think? What do you guys think, chat? Correlation? Winner wins 68. You're willing to put a number on it. Okay. And that'll help frame it. So the way that we want to say, what we want to arrive at is what percentage of rock, paper, scissors winners end up winning the game. And I think there's a way to, like, there's a specific number, like, man, I really wish I had some, like, statistician in the chat to help me out here, but yeah, there's, like, some threshold that we can basically define as saying conclusively, like, this is a correlation or this is noise, basically. I think if it's like 50% of the time the winner of the rock paper scissors goes on to win the game, that would be no correlation. 100% or 0. 100% would be yes correlation. 0% would mean we got it backwards. So let's try to answer this. I'm gonna add a new section with a heading, size, medium. Let's see, how do we statistically significant? Yeah, I feel like I was just gonna say, Fraser, I feel like Gabby, like, because she's in, like, a scientific field, that she would have some experience with this, like how to determine correlation between two data points. I'm very unfamiliar with this, so oh man, I would love to chat with her about this sometime. Like these are like 3 questions that were like front of mind for me, but really a big challenge of this project is going to be coming up with interesting questions to ask, and like what are statistically, or what are questions that are going to provide like statistically significant answers, or like particularly compelling questions to ask about this data set. So that's going to be something that I work on in time, but I would love to chat with Gabby about this kind of thing and pick her brain about how to interpret stats and whatnot. But for now, let's just give this a title. Goofy wins versus regular. Dude, Arthur, one thing I noticed is in the women's Battle of the Barracks, like all of these skaters were new. I had to add them all. Same thing actually with Battle of the Barracks 9, all 32 new skaters. When I was entering all these skaters, I didn't really pick up any pattern regarding stance. But actually, you know what? This is actually a really interesting data point to look at too. Is in a event, what percentage of the skaters in the event are goofy versus regular? I feel like when I was entering all the women, most of them were goofy. There was like a few regular skaters. And you know what? Let's do that one first, because that one's going to be really, really easy. Stance distribution. And that one's going to be a pie chart. This should be pretty straightforward to do. Best skaters are definitely goofy, man. Everybody knows that. Okay, so I'm going to call this stances. Yeah, stances. We're going to look at event games. We just want to get a flat list of unique skaters first, right? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reduce the games using an accumulator. For each game, we're going to do something, and we're going to accumulate these guys in an array, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So let's see. We're gonna go like if accumulator find actually let me think. Game. I have to really think about what the heck I'm doing here. Oh, you know what I can do? I think I should be able to just look at the first round. The first round games that I don't need to worry about deduplicating, but I just want to make totally sure that there aren't any new additions like this. Yeah, see, like Johnny Layton comes in second round as a replacement. So I'm going to actually have to iterate through all the games and come up with a list of all the skaters involved. Yeah. Okay, but here's an interesting thing. What if I just take advantage of this existing reduction that I've got going on here, and I add the stance of the skater, attempt, skater, stance. So each skater in my array of skaters now has a stance as well. So then I can say stances is going to be skaters, reduce, and then I have my accumulator, my skaters, or my skater, and I'm basically going to go like ac skater stance. I have to make sure that I'm getting that skater stance. Yeah, whatever. I was thinking that iterating over the games is gonna be a lot less work than iterating over all the attempts, but since I'm already doing the attempts, I might as well take advantage of that loop that I've already got rather than create another one, even if that other one is shorter because there's less games. Let's just do this. So similar to what we've got up here, maybe I can just go yeah. I'm gonna do the same pattern of checking if a key exists, and then like this, const existing equals ac at the key skater stance, which is what I'm keying all these objects by anyway. And if we have an existing one, then we spread in that existing those existing skaters, tack on the extra skater on the end there, And if we don't have an existing array for this stance, we're just going to assign it an array with one item, the current skater in the loop. So now I should have these stances. Let's console log what we've got to see what to do next. Goofy wins versus... I'm not regular, no. Arthur, that's fake news, my man. Stance is undefined. Stances, there we go. I'm goofy as hell. Yeah, in replacements are J is regular, that's right. Yeah, that's why he's so weird. And we're normal goofy people. Even though it's called regular. Okay, let's take a look at our stances. Yeah, but the replacements part, I tell you what, it was pretty gnarly. What I'm doing in my database, I have a whole table for replacements, and this is what it looks like. So for a game, represented by game ID, you have an in ID and an out ID. Out is obviously the name of the skater who's being taken out, and in is their replacement. There's also buy rounds in Battle of the Barracks sometimes, like in Battle of the Barracks 11. When this loads up, we'll see. So Luan won his first round game. He advances to second round. Kevin White won his first round game, advances second round. But Kevin White couldn't make the game, so Luan automatically gets a bye round and moves on to the next round. So I represent those by these replacement rows with an in ID of null. So nobody coming in, but somebody coming out indicates a bye. So sometimes with something like this, there's plenty of different ways that I could choose to represent it by, but there's sometimes these heuristics that you have to come up with to represent different kind of like data structures or concepts in the code. Goofy Mongo. I wish I was Goofy Mongo. That sounds rad. Tiago Lemos pushes Mongo sometimes when he's skating Switch. And he's one of the raddest out. Okay, so we've got this undefined, which means that stance is being undefined. That's interesting. All right, it looks like I should have a stance, right? What gives? Yeah, undefined. I'm just gonna console log skaters, I guess. Oh, dude, it's because I'm mapping over the object that I've created, and I'm forgetting to add stance to my final object. Stance, like that. All right, there we go. Okay, now before revealing the results, I'm gonna put them in a pie chart. Okay, so this is gonna be stances. I'm just going to object entries this one too, and map it like so. Get the stance and what am I looking at? Skaters, right? And each array in my stances array is going to be an object with a stance property and a value of skaters length, the number of skaters who subscribe to a particular stance. So we're going to go like that. Value is going to be nothing. ID is going to be stance. It'd be really nice to share like all this stuff between the two pies, but we'll get to that in a second. So check it out. Goofy versus regular. In Battle of Barracks 11, it's mostly regular. On the best skate team, on the best skateboard deck company ever. Debatable, but sure. Let's see, Battle of Barracks 10. Null? Who's null? Who's null, dude? What? Stance? Hello? Chris Roberts in the Legion of Doom. Oh, that's too funny. They don't have a stance. There's one. Otherwise, look at this. It's other. If Chris Roberts and the Legion of Doom were goofy. You mean Chris Roberts and the Legion of Doom is one of the best teams in skating? I agree, man. They're a powerhouse. All right, let's check it out. New Blood. What's the stance? Oh, wow. Pretty close. Pretty close. Little edging toward goofy, but okay. Let's see what else. Oh, this is pretty heavily slanted towards regular at Battle of Barracks 8. Now, let's see if my suspicion was correct. Ooh, yeah. Which stance has one more? That's a good question. I can check that. Hey, look at this. I was right. For the women's, Goofy made up 75%. There was only 4 regular skaters in the contest. Battle of the Quarantine. What do we have? And this is almost the opposite. Battle of the Quarantine was primarily regular skaters. Now we want to know who won more, huh? Okay, okay. So to find that out, this is tricky because of the way that I'm currently creating my skaters array out of the attempts. What I really want to do is create it from the games, which is what I was considering doing anyway. Yeah. Should we do that? Yeah, we were gonna do rock, paper, scissors and then got sidetracked talking about stances. Let's get back on that rock, paper, scissors stuff, because I think that's gonna be really interesting. So what we want to know is, let's see. Rock, paper, scissors winner wins X% of the time. So why don't we start 68? Yes, right. You're locked in, Max. You guys are gonna have to excuse the rough design work. That'll be a topic for another day. RPS winner wins the game. Percent of the time. So this 0 we're going to replace with a number. And let's see how we have to arrive at that number. So let's see. We can map over the games. For each game, we can decide, did the rock, paper, scissors winner win the game? And if they did, we can just return true, I guess, and then tally up all the truthy values and divide it by the total values, and we have our percent. Let's try that. RPS, what do we call this? RPS win rate or something. So we'll go event.games, and we're going to map over those games. For each game, we want to decide the game. Okay, first we need to determine the Rochambeau winner. We basically want to say like Rochambeau winner ID equals game result winner ID. And that's it. That'll return truth. That'll return true if it's true, and false if it's not. In fact, instead of using map and like looking for the truthy values and dividing them by the total values, we can just use a filter, and this will give us, let me see, RPS win, RPS win, or let's see, wins after Rochambeau win. This will give us a new array with only the games that that were won by the Rochambeau winner, which we need to calculate now. And luckily for myself and for everybody's time on stream, we don't really need to come up with that by hand, because I've calculated this once before. So let's see. Is Rochambeau tied? Rochambeau winner. Okay. Let's see. The Rochambeau outcome makes a bigger difference based on the skater's consistency. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you win the Rochambeau if you have low consistency, because then you give up the set or the hammer or whatever you want to call it. Okay, this seems straightforward enough. I'm going to take this code that I've written here, abstract it out to a util function. We'll call this export function get Rochambeau winner. It'll take Rochambeaus, it'll take skater IDs, and it'll do all these fun things. And where's that Rochambeau? Where was that? Where was I? Here we are. Where am I? Rochambeau winner. Yeah, I'm using this Rochambeau constant, which is coming from Rochambeau buttons. Really, I think this should probably just exist in utils along with the get Rochambeau winner function. So now this component can import Rochambeau from utils, and it's happy. And then over here, here we go. Instead of all this logic, we're just going to call return get Rochambeau winner with Rochambeaus and skater IDs. And in fact, we can just go ahead and do that. Make it nice and concise. And that should be good there. Okay, now back in our event, Rochambeau winner is going to be equal to get Rochambeau winner, and I'm going to pass it game Rochambeaus, and we need skater IDs. I'm just going to define a new variable for that. Skater IDs is equal to game skaters map, and for each skater I'm just going to return their ID, pass that into the second argument for get Rochambeau winner, and if I'm not mistaken, Rochambeau winner will just return the correct ID, so I don't need to worry about that. And the last thing I need to do is make sure that I'm requesting all the right data from my API here. So let's see, I've got games, skaters have an ID, so I'm good there. Rochambeaus. I need the round, and I need the move. I think that's all I have. Let's check my GraphQL schema here. Yeah, Rochambeau. Round move, and they have a skater. I think, am I gonna need that? You know what? I'm thinking that if I might be able to get around or get by without having to supply skater IDs manually, because I can deduce the skaters by looking at the Rochambeaus. I'm going to make a note to do that later. Don't need to refactor this right now. Refactor to get skater IDs from Rochambeau.skater. All right, so I just need the round and the move, right? Let's take a look. Rochambeau's, oh, interesting. Last round, okay, yeah. I'm trying to, oh. Interesting. Dude, I would be stoked if the barracks secretly hired me. Okay, but the shape of these Rochambeaus is actually like an array. Hey, yeah, this is rather tricky. I might have to refactor this a little bit, but I'm just gonna change my code up here to make this all work. So I gotta grab the skater ID, and what I'm gonna do is create a new Rochambeau's variable that is an array. All right. Yeah, an array where the first element is the first round and the last element is the last round, and each element in the array is an object keyed by skater IDs. Okay. Let's do that. So game Rochambeaus. What I can do is say reduce. And for each Rochambeau, we're going to go like, boy, I've been doing a lot of this same reduce action recently. Rochambeau, round. And let me think. I wonder if I can just kind of get two birds stoned at once here. I'm going to return this, so I'm going to check to see if we have an existing entry in here for Rochambeau round, and if we do existing, then we're going to spread existing in and add. You know what? I just remembered something. In my game form, I have. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Reduce flat array of Rochambeau rounds into Rochambeau round format ID move. So I've already done this work to make my game form work. I'm just gonna copy this, put this in a util, a Rochambeau function, in a util function, and use it like so. Let's call this reduce Rochambeaus. It'll take Rochambeaus as an input and return this value here. Okay. That's going to save me a lot of time. I was basically about to rewrite all this stuff. I'm so glad that I caught myself. So now in here, we can just say reduce Rochambeaus with game Rochambeaus. That should work. Auto import. Okay. And then back over here, we can do the same thing right here. Instead of all this business, let's just do this. Reduce Rochambeau's like that, and then pass this on to my get Rochambeau winner. And let's see. Wins after Rochambeau win. Console log. You know what? I'm instead of console logging, I'm just gonna try to YOLO this. YOLO's in the chat if you got them. We're gonna say const Rochambeau win rate. Yes, there we go. We're gonna go math round wins after Rochambeau win dot length. I'm going to optionally chain this result in case result is null. And divide this by event games length. We're going to multiply this whole thing by 1,000 divided by 10, just like we did with the trick, whatever. And then paste that variable down here. And the results are in. What's the case? Oh, let's try just refreshing. Pretend you saw nothing. Oh, RPS winner wins the game 60% of the time. This is for Battle of the Quarantine. Now we're gonna explore. We're gonna go back in time and see how this value changes over time. So this was for the latest Battle of the Quarantine. For the women's Battle of the Barracks, let's take a look. 62.5% of the time for the ladies. Damn. 59, Fraser. Not bad, not bad. Wow, look at this one. For Battle of the Barracks 11, 43.8. The RPS winner won less than the RPS loser. Serves them right. 34, even worse for Battle of the Barracks 10. This is crazy, dude. Okay, we're climbing up. 62 for Arthur. You're funny, man. So what I'm seeing here is that there is no real correlation. There doesn't appear to be. It's like all over the place. Yes, it does indeed. But you know, hovering around 50, give or take, you know, 10% on either side, tells me that this is randomness. It's not. Look at that, dead even 50% of the time for Battle of the Barracks 6. That's interesting. Battle of the Barracks 6, by the way, I think the whole gimmick there was regular versus goofy, so it's kind of cool to see that like shown in the stats this way. Yeah, 40%. I other than that 34%, I think there was that one that was like an outlier. Statistically insignificant. That's right. 50%. So no correlation for Battle of Barracks 3, which was also regular versus goofy, by the way. Damn. 53, and then finally, what do we have for 1? 56. Yeah, this is statistically insignificant, and we really wouldn't have known that without doing the work and figuring this shit out. Hey, what's up, Jurob247? Welcome to the stream. Today, what I'm working on is analyzing data from skateboarding events. This particular style of skateboard contest is a head-to-head kind of battle, similar to horse in basketball, if you're familiar with that, or I'm sure other games and other sports have some kind of similar format. But yeah, I've basically collected a ton of data about these games, and today we've just been trying to answer some questions that we have about the games and try to prove some hypotheses using statistics. It's been it's been pretty fun. Arthur, troll. But yeah, I mean, you actually arrived towards the end of the stream. Actually, we've gone through answered 4 different questions about the data. I don't know if anybody else in the chat has anything else that they want to, any burning questions that you have. I've answered the 3 questions that I set out to answer, plus 1 little stance distribution. I guess we could answer the question about Arthur. I have seen your latest part, dude. It fucking rips. I guess one thing we could do is figure out what the win rate for goofy versus regular skaters is. That would be pretty cool. Jarab, it's similar to Chart.js. It's a library called Nevo. Same idea, just a React charting library. I really like the API, and they give me nice charts as a result. So yeah, highly recommend them. All right, let's answer that one to finish up. Who wins more games, goofy or regular? And let's see if we get something statistically significant. Okay, so let's think about how we want to answer this. First of all, we have this result winner. The winner itself is a skater, so I can just get the stance out of there. And I'm going to map over each game and create a new array, like for each game. Just give me the stance of the winner. So let's see. Winner stances is going to be event games map for each game. We're just going to return game result winner stance like that. And I optionally chain winner on the end of result because sometimes result can be null if we have a buy round. So we're going to have this statement's going to create a new array with just stances or possibly null. So to filter out those null values, I can just go filter with the Boolean constructor. That'll filter out any falsy values from the array. And then we want to, well, let's see. How do we want to do this? We want to count stance wins. So we'll go, let's see. Winner stances, reduce. And we're going to do another reduce, but this time it's going to be a little bit different. I think. What I'd like to do is say, similar to before, we're going to check for an existing row at stance, and then return our accumulator, which is originally going to be an object, key by stance, and if we have an existing entry in this object, we're going to increment that count by 1. Otherwise, the default is going to be 1. Another way to write this would be like something like this, where our existing value, maybe we'll call this count, is either the current value or 0 if this doesn't exist. Yeah, I think that'll do the trick. And then we're gonna take this object entries it, similar to what we've been doing here so far tonight. And let's see, who are there who wins more rock paper scissors, Goofy or regular? Dude, that is legit something that I'd like to do. Not tonight, but I'm writing that one down. That's for the lulz. Goofy versus regular, RPS wins. Oh man. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2? The more revolutions per second, the more you win. Damn. That's insider knowledge. It's pretty amazing though when you see if you look at any Tony Hawk Pro Skater speedruns, and where they like win the contests, like there's like 3 contest levels through in each game, and they win the contests in like 5 seconds just by doing like a very, very specific string of tricks that gives them way more points than they possibly need. They like do their contest run and then end their run as fast as possible once they've like passed some certain points threshold. Pretty inspiring stuff. Okay, stance and count. And I'm just going to turn this into an array of objects with properties stance and count. Okay. And let's render another pie chart. I'm just going to render it within this same one. You know what? Might be kind of cool. Yeah, let's just do this first. This is going to be stance wins, right? The ID is going to be stance. The value is going to be... you know what? I'm just going to call this value. And maybe I'll just call this ID. There we go. Easy peasy. Squeeze lemon. And now I can remove this default value. Keep everything else. Let's see what the results show. Let's see. Damn. Okay, I'm just going to break this out a little bit more. Give it a title, heading. Stance wins by stance. Let's take a look. Is Goofy the best? Or is regular? Wow, man. 1.4 billion. Honestly, that is that's less than I expected. I mean, $1.5 billion is insane, but yeah, that is absolutely insane. The timing on that. Ooh, speaking of big numbers, Fraser with the $10 million trick. $10 million point trick. Nice, nice. I'm definitely more of an EA Skate guy myself. Tony Hawk. I will say that Tony Hawk Pro Skater is the reason I got into skateboarding in the first place. And I didn't even own the shit. My story about how I got into skating. I used to bike to school with a friend named Greg, and I would meet him at his house on my way. His house was between me and the school, so I would ride my bike to his house, pick him up, and then we would ride our bikes to school. And then on our way back home, we would stop over at his house, and he had an N64, and I didn't have an N64, or I had like an NES at the time. That's a different story. But and we would go and sit and play Tony Hawk Pro Skater for hours after school. And that was my introduction to skateboarding. And now it's like my favorite thing. A friend brought over a PS1 with Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Oh, damn, that is so dope. Yeah, man, friends with consoles back in the day, they're the real MVP for sure. Okay, check it out. Check it out. So, wins by stance. Looking at Battle of the Barracks 1 regular takes it. Battle of the Barracks 2. Let's see. See what we got. Stop the party. Somebody just followed. I didn't see who it was, but thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Thank you. I'm pumped. This is so dope. The other cool thing about this is that in each Battle of the Barracks, there are 31 games, I guess. Thanks, Fraser. Dunk by default. Thank you, Dirk. All right, let's continue on. Let's see if we can get some conclusive evidence that Goofy is better. Looks pretty even. Regular's been edging it out, but let's take a look. Oh yeah, now Goofy coming in with the heavy wins here. 19 wins. You know what would be cool is like the like somehow combining these two data points. Like, what is the distribution of wins by stance? You know what I mean? Like, if there's more Goofy skaters in an event, you would anticipate there being more Goofy wins. I want to see like these statistical anomalies. Like, let's take a look at Women's Battle of the Barracks, for example. Yeah, so there was only 4 regular skaters, and they combined for 2 wins across the tournament, and there was 14 Goofy wins. I don't like how the colors are inverted. That's kind of awkward. Awkward. But this is dope. More questions answered. It doesn't look like we have any... yeah, the color inversion is nasty. This one works, but it's because I'm not... you know what? I can fix it. I can fix it, guys. Okay, if I do this and I just sort the array, I get my A sample and my B sample, and I say... wait a minute. No, it's too complicated. Sorry. Too complicated right now, but no, I think it's just the first element in the array gets the bigger number, or not the bigger number, the first color. And so if I'm iterating through my games and the first game's winner is Goofy footed, then Goofy is the first element in the array. Okay, this is really awesome though. Despite color inversion, there's a lot of things. This is pretty rough. I don't think this looks particularly nice. I'd love to lay it out, and like I mentioned before, the inspiration for this design wise is state of JS. So in the next stream, we're going to be working on design and layout and making it look beautiful like this. I would love to learn more about charts in the meantime as well, and see if I can incorporate some different charts that answer more interesting questions, or like I was saying before, I want to see what the relationship between stance distribution and wins by stance is. For example, in this Battle of Barracks 8, the regular skaters outnumber the Goofy skaters 20-12. However, the Goofy skaters got more wins than the regular skaters. How do I represent that concept in a graph? I don't know yet, and I'm keen to find out. But yeah, next stream is going to be all about polishing the design, thinking more about the layout and flow of the data within a page, and hopefully getting into more complex charting options like they've got in here. That would be really nice. Oh yeah, Jarab, it is a pretty good trick. Yeah, filter boolean is really handy just for filtering falsy values. So that can be false, null, undefined, out of an array. Divide goofy skaters into goofy ones and regular skaters into regular ones. Yeah, true. Like, we want to basically answer the question of like, what percentage of each stance, what the win rate is for each stance, considering their representation in the event, or something like that. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. And Max, I'm using the Sony what is it? A 6000. Actually, Arthur also in the chat has the same camera or like a slightly better camera. It's the new wave, man. Sony Alpha Club. But yeah, guys, that is gonna be it. A6400. Damn. Fraser, are you familiar with these Sony Alpha cameras? Lumix G7. I'm really not that good with with digital cameras. I don't know what the heck is good, but sounds good. If it can plug into your computer in some way and you can use it as a webcam, then you're chilling. If that's what you want to use it for. Okay, got you. Yeah, that's probably why I got it. My like the guy who told me to get this camera definitely knows his shit and has done his research. So I'll trust his every word. Anyway, guys, that is it for me. I gotta get up and move around. This was really fun. Like I said, it's not the most polished thing yet, but it is really cool to see this data finally being represented and laid out and getting some of these questions answered. Next stream, we're gonna work on design, and I would love to come to the table with some more questions that we can answer with data. If you guys have any burning questions or think of anything that would be really cool to dig into on stream, I'd love to hear those ideas as well. Until then, I say peace, and we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid my friend Gabby. I didn't catch what she's playing, but she's surely playing a game today. I think she's playing something new, and so that should be fun. Let's go raid her and make a statistically significant impact in her follower count. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Thank you everybody who subbed, followed, liked, subscribed, whatever. Comment down below with your favorite tricks. All right, peace out.